Starfish. Let me tell you about the starfish. And you may have heard this little poem or story. A man was going up and down the beach. You've heard it? Man was going up and down the beach. And he saw this person walking around. And this person was leaning over and picking up something. It looked like a man or whatever, picking up something and pitching the starfish in the water. And he's leaning down and throwing it in the water, picking down thousands and thousands of starfish, miles and miles of beach, leaning down, picking it up, throwing it in the water. And he goes up to this man. He said, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, I'm taking these starfish. The sun is up. It's hot. They'll die if I don't pick them up. I'm taking these starfish and putting them back in the water." And so the old man said, "Are you nuts? You got thousands and thousands of starfish and miles and miles and miles of beach. How you feel you're going to do anything? How you feel you're going to make a difference?" And he leaned down and picked up one of the starfish, pitched it over into the breaking waves. He said, "It made a difference for that one." We got thousands and thousands of young people, miles and miles of all kinds of things in terms of roads and schools. But if we reach down and pick up that one and bring it to where it needs to survive, it made a difference for that one. That's all we're saying. If each one, reach one, teach one. If you commit to one child, if you commit to just one child, reaching one child that you don't know, maybe a child in your church, and you decide, you know, I'm going to try to pair with this kid. I'm going to try to work with this family. Just one. And hang in there with it. Hang in there. Just one. And if each one reach one, teach one, guess what we could do? Let me tell you why it's so important that we reach one. And let me show you. That's what that starfish poem is about. Now let me tell you. That's what it said. It made a difference for that one. Let me tell you what else I need you to do in District C. We cannot, under any circumstance, accept any more excuses. You know, I used to say, you got to talk to the hand. I don't want to hear it. You got to talk to the hand. No more excuses. Don't tell me the teacher's no good. Don't tell me the school is no good. You're good. You are the interceder. You are the one that's connecting. Don't tell me that the school is not worth anything. I don't want to hear it. Because I have seen young people succeed out of the most diverse, the most horrific cases. Why? Because the greatest gift you can give anyone, and particularly your child, the greatest gift you can give them is your belief in them. That's the greatest gift you can give them. You give them your belief. What does belief do? Belief has some powers, I believe in you. Well, I don't believe in me. I believe in you. Do you know what happens when that goes into the subconscious mind and how you connecting your belief system with someone else's non-belief system? It works. It works. So we said no more excuses, keeping the promise to educate all children, all students. And we're just going to hit a couple points here. If you do what you always did, you get what you always got. If you do what you always did, you get what you always got. You've got to do things a little different. So we can't keep doing the same thing. There must be a positive change. The other thing we want to say, and this is very true, where there is no vision. Where am I? Where there is no vision, the people what?
Perish.
The people what?
Perish.
The people perish. Where is the vision? We've got to go back to the fact that we believe. We believe. We cannot look at this one over here with his pants sagging. Okay? I'm telling you, pants sagging. And with his mouth all got a whole lot of mouth. Because you see, right inside that sagging, kind of looking like nothing young man, is the potential of a beautiful gift. Now, we didn't say that it had manifested itself. But a diamond in the rough, if you look at it, looks like an old piece of broken glass. You got to shine it. You got to work on it. You got to polish it. You got to give it enough work and movement and friction too, and make it a beautiful thing. So don't give up on my children. Do not give up on my children. Do not give up on my children. So we got to keep our vision going. Okay, now let me say this. The vision statement for the village is this. And this is before Michelle Reed said this. I had this out 3 or 4 years ago now. I had this before Michelle Reed put this out. We said back in 2008, we said students first. We said students first. Now she's got students first all over everywhere and got it and whatever. But we said students first. It takes a village to educate a child. Students first. Politics last. We got people playing politics with the lives of our kids. Stepping on top of our children with politics. I'm saying to you, it's students first. The other thing I want to say to you is this. In the village, we talk about what the village is made up of, and I'm only going to read a couple of these. We say that there is there's victory. We believe it. We're going to believe for it. Our children and all of us are intelligent. People want to tell you when you say this or you don't, you split your verbs or something that you're ignorant, that you're stupid. I want to call my kids stupid. Now, did they split the verb? Yes, they did. Did they not say it the right way? Yes, no, they didn't. Did they add up or get the geometry equation right? No, they didn't. But are they stupid? No. We're intelligent, and they're intelligent. We talk about love and what we call unconditional love. We're not just talking about, you know where that goes. I mean, I'm not saying it that way, but you know, all that can go nowhere fast. We're talking about unconditional, just love. Love, and the Lord talks about love. We're talking about that there's learning in the village. We're also talking about that there's achievement and goals and education, and those all make up the village, V-I-L-L-A-G-E. We also are saying that in the village is this. We're saying that in our mission statement that we support the development of positive relationships. You can't do anything without relationships. I can tell you right now, I don't care how wonderful your academic strategies are. I don't care what goals that you have. Your first goal is to establish a relationship. After you establish a relationship, then the next thing you can do is, I call it, you can then move to what I call academic rigor. If you have faith in me and I have faith in you, and we got a relationship, I can tell you a whole lot of things. And you know what? And I can tell you, you know, you better get yourself together because I'm not tolerating that from you. And I can say a whole lot of things to you, and I better have it by tomorrow. And don't come back in that room until you give me what I want. And you know what? I got a relationship with you. And you're going to take that because you know I care about you. I'm not going to let you get away with that kind of sloppy work. You're not going to do that to me. And you're not going to do it first to yourself and your family. But if I have a relationship with you, I can get away with it. But if I don't have a relationship with you, and I say that kind of stuff, you'll shut me down. The other thing I want to say to you is it's got to be relevant. Where do we take our kids from where we have the relationship and the rigor? Where are you going in your future? Where is it relevant? If I teach you the academics and you can't connect it to your future, it's hard for you to see where you're going. It's got to be relevant. The other R for my, what I call a mission statement is this. It is your responsibility to do what I ask you to do. It's my responsibility to be the teacher. It's your responsibility to be the student. I'm going to do my responsibility. I expect you to do yours. High expectations. Come on. Come on. I need you to get me that material. Well, I don't want to hear no excuses. You got to talk to the hand. I want that work from you. That's your responsibility. Don't come in here sloppy like that with me. I used to do that with my kids. I was a high school teacher. I talk to them like that all the time. Don't you bring me no sloppy stuff like that. I know you can do better than that. And don't you look at me like, no, what you laughing about? I want you to get on it. And I can say that to those kids. And you know what? They bought it. They knew I cared. And they want you to slap them around a little bit. Not physically, but they want you to jack them up. I mean, I'm going to tell you, you know what? I used to get some kids and I said, look, Rodney, now don't you act like that. Now, if you do that one more time, you do better than that. You know, it was, you know, it wasn't mean.
Yes, ma'am.
And you know what? The other kids, well, you didn't do that to me. You know what I'm saying? They want you to care enough. They want you to care enough to jack them up a little bit. They really do. And the other thing I want to say to you, oh God, my whole thing went out. The other thing is respect. One of the things we say with all the things we do is we have to show respect for these young people, because the respect is what's going to get and take us where we need to go. The other thing I want to go with you on this, and I'm not going to take up a whole lot of time because my computer said, you know what, you're talking too much anyway. Let me tell you the things that I want to say to you about why it's so important that we go back to the basics and go back to our roots. If we don't go back to our roots and lift up these young people with belief and with commitment, we not only lose them, we lose a piece of ourselves. Because they are the future and the torchbearers that take what we have, what I know, what I've learned. What good is it going to do me to be on a school board? What good is it going to do to be a trustee on the school board and to not pass it on to someone else? What did I do? Where's the link? You see what I'm saying? What good is it for you to do what you're doing if you don't bring another young one around so that they know what they're doing? And I'm saying to you, keep in mind that if we are to do all the things we are to do, we have got to look to the future, and the children are our future. I want to just get a couple things to you about what we're doing in the school district right now. First of all, how many of you are getting my newsletter? If you're not, I want to make sure that you, before I leave, that you get my newsletter. How many of you get my newsletter? Okay, all of you aren't. How many of you can have access to a computer to get my newsletter electronically? Please, before I leave, I would like to take a moment to just make sure that you get my newsletter, okay? On my newsletter, I try to put, sometimes I maybe put too much information, but I try to link you to all the things that are going on in the school district. I try to link you to the reform movements. And let me tell you what I want you to think of when we think of reform. R-E-F-O-R-M. Spell it for me. Reform.
R-E-F-O-R-M.
Okay, reform. When we talk about reform, does anybody tell you about anything about reform? Here's what I want you to think about. When they say reform, I want you to think about the first thing with reform, and the R is results. It doesn't make any difference what anybody tells you about reform. The reform has to be about results. If you work for a Fortune 500 company, the first thing they're going to look at is the results. They're going to talk about what were their sales last year, what are our sales quarterly, what are our sales now. It's results. Now, in the school district, we are now getting to a point, we're talking about results. You can't tell me how great your reform is if you can't read the word reform. Am I right or wrong? We've got to talk about results. So in my reform movement, I want you to look at reform. The other part of reform I want you to think about in the E is education drives everything that goes on in every process, in your Fortune 500 companies, in your school district, in your churches, in this redistricting, in my redistricting, in everything. It is about education. Why do you think every political candidate, the first thing they do is talk about education? Education. The F in reform, keep this in mind, the F in reform is you got to check out your facts. Don't let anybody tell you just anything. In reform, look at the facts. That means you've got to study. You've got to look at what people are saying. Somebody can sell you a bill of goods. So in reforms, in the school district, in anything that goes on, look at the facts. In the O in reform, look at what are the opportunities. Where is this going for students? Where is it going for teachers? Where are the opportunities? It doesn't do us any good to have reform if you're going to stay where you are, and you're going to stay where you are, and they're going to stay. Where's the opportunities? Okay? So the O, the R in reforms is we've got to look at resources. Where are the resources coming from? I don't care. It don't have to be a lot of resources, but it does need to be some resources. And the M in reform, as far as I'm concerned, the M is reform is you got to have some movement.